Good afternoon, volleyball fans. Welcome to the Bill Frack Court at the Stroh Center for today's matchup featuring the Bulldogs of Butler against the Vikings of Cleveland State. At this time, we ask that all in attendance please rise, if you are able, as we honor America, as well as those who have served, those who are serving, or those who will be serving with the playing of our national anthem. And now, let's meet the starting lineups for the Bulldogs.
And here out at the Stroh Center in Bowling Green, Ohio, the Bowling Green State University Invitational opening up here today against two of the visiting teams. It's a neutral site match. BGSU will play their first game later on today at 12:30, give or take. It's going to take place about 30 minutes after this match occurs. Hello, it's Donovan Mann and Jacob Seidel bringing you the call here for this one between the Cleveland State Vikings and the Bulldogs of Butler. Butler functioning as that home team will be wearing their white jerseys.
Yeah, Butler coming in with a record of 1-2 this season so far. Their one win came in a 3-0 sweep against Tennessee State back on August 30th. But they were swept by New Mexico State as well as Auburn, and now coming into the Stroh Center to face a Cleveland State team who so far is 0-3, but Cleveland State is always a team that can be dangerous. Coach Chuck Voss in his 20th season at the helm of the CSU Vikings. We'll see what his team can do here as they open up the Hampton in Bowling Green Invitational.
And yes, Cleveland State will be in their home whites with, road blacks rather, with white trim. It's early. 10 a.m. games are always hard to call. Got that white trim going down the side. They're announcing the lineups to the Stroh Center right now. We will go ahead and get those for you. First for the visiting Vikings, or quote-unquote visiting Vikings, I should say.
Looks like it's going to be Hannah Green along with Christina Grekel and Julia Piccolino. Emily DeGeorge, let's see here. Yes, London Portis, Lindsay Tout, and Trinity Hall. Trinity Hall, really a big factor on this team. 33 kills so far this season, averaging 3 kills a set.
And then for the Bulldogs, it's going to look like this. Megan Rings here will be starting, as well as it's going to be Anna Logan. She'll be joined out there with Gregory. That is Brooke Gregory, wearing number 12, an outside hitter / middle blocker, joined by Megan Schranden. Joining out there as well is going to be Melody Davidson, as well as Shay Horn, and then their libero is going to be number 14, Elizabeth LaBou. Butler will go back to serve first here. They will be serving right to left across your radio dial. If you're listening through on Mixler, if you're joining us up via the live stream or via YouTube, welcome in. So, Jacob, should be a pretty interesting one here to say the least. Two teams that look on paper like they're pretty evenly matched. two teams didn't get off to the start they wanted to. Two teams looking for a win to open up this Invitational. It's up and over, and we are underway. It's a wild serve there, but Cleveland State gets it up cleanly and over for a free possession, but the free possession turns into a free point, as it looks like Marissa Durand just sends that one a little bit too far.
Yeah, she just got a little too much underneath that one, sends it wide.
Well, it gives it right back, as this one's served way too far on the Butler second serve. We are tied up here at 1 in the Stroh Center. Service error there is on Elizabeth LeBoux. Back to serve is going to be Lindsay Tout. Cleveland State puts it up and over. It's going to be dug out. Here comes the setup now at the net, and that's Gregory. Gregory with the kill as it gets deflected and sent out of bounds on the Cleveland State side. That's going to be 2-1 Butler lead now.
And if you're Butler, you can't write that play up any better. They got that kill attempt right in the perfect spot, went into the block and then went right out with no chance for Cleveland State to save it.
High sending up over serve, almost a service ace. In fact, this one does get sent back to the Butler side, almost a busted play as it's kept going, but Cleveland State does keep it alive. Now Butler gets it over here. It's going to be set up, tipped over by Shea Horn, and Shea Horn will get the kill as it is once again deflected and goes out of bounds off of Cleveland State player. 3-1 Butler.
And Butler off to the start they really wanted to see here. Like I said, Butler, a bit off and on. They've been swept the team and taken a 1-5 sets as we have a service error there, the second one on the Butler Bulldogs.
Yeah, Megan Sarandon did not get a good hit on that one. Kind of went off her hand awkwardly there, went into the net sideways, but that's a freshman mistake, and she will learn from that. She'll maybe strike it a little bit better. Cleveland State gets the side out. It's 3-2. Serving it is Audrey McConey. It's going to be dug out. Here comes the setup now in the middle. Just kind of flopped over for a free play. Here comes the setup now at the net. Tip, kill over by Trinity Hall, but they're going to call the error here on Hall. And so Point Bulldogs, they lead 4-2 here in the first set of the Bowling Green Invitational. Back to serve is going to be Shea Horn. Shea Horn, the junior from Blue Springs, Missouri. Puts this one up and way too far. Service error there, the second service error on the Bulldogs today.
3 service errors now on the Bulldogs.
You are correct.
I believe.
3 service errors.
And Horn, the junior, transfer out of Texas A&M at Corpus Christi.
So all of Cleveland State's points coming off of the service error so far. 4-3 Butler leads. Here comes the serve up and over by DeGeorge. Here comes the setup, up and over, dug out by DeGeorge. Here comes the setup now in the middle, flipped over, that's Hall. Setup in the middle now, flipped over. Gregory kept alive here. Gregory sends it back, but puts just enough air under that. I thought that was going to be a little high, but it falls down right at the right moment. Credit the kill there for Brooke Gregory, and she'll go back to serve. Butler up 5-3. Gets up over the net. It's going to be dug out. That's George. Comes the setup and the kill. Is that Trinity Hall? Yes, it is.
And like we said earlier, Trinity Hall is really going to be the life of this Cleveland State team that leads the team with 33 kills, and she just proved why there.
Interesting serve there by Trinity Hall, but she does get it up and over. Here comes the setup. That's Logan. Trinity Hall is going to set this one up, put it up and over. Way too much, trying to go cross court with it. Cleveland State commits another attack error. They are hitting negative .333 to start this match. That's not a good hitting percentage, especially when they were looking at Butler's .429. Side out Butler, 6-4. Bulldogs on top. Back to serve is going to be Megan Reisinger. Here comes the setup in the middle, and sent back. Hannah Green tried to get the kill, but a couple of Bulldogs in on the block there. Perfectly timed block, Jacob. 7-4.
It was perfect there. Right now, Butler is looking like a very superior team. They're not looking like a team that's 1-3. Pardon me, 1-2.
This one is put up and over. It's going to be dug out by DeGeorge. Set up. It's tipped, but kept alive by Butler. Here comes it. Going to be dug out by DeGeorge on the attack there. Set up, far side. That's going to be Latimer. Dug out by the Bulldogs. And then just bumped over for a free play. It's kept alive here. Second touch, put up in the Butler in the middle, and Davidson with the kill goes off of Andre McConaughey, who tried to dive it out, And point Bulldogs, 8-4 lead. Early timeout here for Cleveland State.
And just looking at a few of these stats, Cleveland State has not come out of the gates very stellar. Now being doubled up 8-4 as we're in this first time out from Chuck Voss, and I don't think he's happy with what he's seen from his team so far.
Chuck Voss in his 20th season is joined by Mark Hardaway in his second season. He's an assistant coach, also joined by Kelly Seguraba in their third season. And then there's the volunteer assistant coach, Nina Milani, in their first season. They brought 3 assistant coaches here, and then for Butler, the coaching staff looks like this. Sharon Clark is the head coach, Sophia Sanchez and Sean Keeve are the assistant coaches. You've got Lauren Mitchell, the assistant athletic trainer, and then TJ Greenstone, the strength and conditioning coach, listed as well.
So Cleveland State so far have only scored 1 of their points off the kill. The rest have been on service errors by the Butler Bulldogs so far, and really that's probably been the only weakness we've seen so far from Butler.
Yeah, no, Butler has definitely looked like the team that has come out. I wouldn't say that it looked like the better team right now, but they look like the team that's kind of woken up a little bit more. Again, these 10 a.m. games, they're hard. I will never confess to be a D1 athlete. I will never be a D1 athlete. But even then, we are all human, and, you know, having to get up early and then get out to a match this early has got to be tough on these women out here.
It's tough on us, Donovan. We didn't have our coffee this morning.
I had my coffee this morning. Megan Ramsey will go back to serve for the Bulldog. She is a setter, senior from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And then here comes an attempt tip by Hannah Green of the Vikings. Does not get over the net, and then a 4th Viking touches it without a tip necessary. So Bulldogs now up by 5. Another error by Cleveland State. Megan Ramsey dug out. Here comes the setup on the far side. That looks like it's going for Latimer, and Latimer will go a little bit too far with it. Another attack error on the Vikings. Make it 10-4 Bulldogs.
And that's going to bring in the substitution of Deanna Avery. See if she can spark a little, or get a spark here.
That one's dug out there by McConaughey, but McConaughey sends it way too far. Now McConaughey on the 3rd touch, we just have to send it back and over. Here comes the setup on the near side. That is for Logan. Anna Logan, rather, gets that one a little bit too far. Attack error there. It's now 10-5.
Came a little too close to the near side here on the broadcast. And good, just good eyes there by Cleveland State.
Brett Cole serves it up, almost in a service error, but or service ace rather. It's kept alive for Dover for a free play. Cleveland State will get into offense. And now we see the kill shot down there by Kiana Avery. Perfect placement of the ball there, Jacob.
You can't ask for much more if you're Chuck Voss, if your team coming out of a timeout. That's one of the most important things you have to watch in this sport.
Here comes the throw down by the Butler Bulldogs, and it will be a successful kill. We'll see who that is for. But the Bulldogs do get the kill from the cross court after the dig out attempt hits the pin on the far side. 11-6 your score. Bulldogs on top. Here comes the setup. That's going to be for Portis. Portis puts a little bit too much air under that one. It goes too far. Another attack error on Cleveland State. It's going to be 12-6. They are hitting again at a negative 333. The most recent kill for Butler was by Melody Davidson. Get back on that. Here comes the setup in the middle there. Tipped at the net. Kept alive there just for a moment. But eventually they're going to call, looks like they are going to just call a lift ball on that one. As it looked like Marissa Duran tried to pull that one back for correction. That's Elizabeth LeBlue just tried to keep that one alive, but Butler really had no chance on that one. It's now 12-7. This one's served up and over. That is Pocolinio. Here comes the setup down in the middle. That's Horn, kept alive. Thrown down there by Green, kept alive by Butler. Going cross court now is Shrandon. Over here. And the kill successful there by Emily DeGeorge. DeGeorge gets the Vikings on the board there. It's going to be 12-8. Butler still on top by 4 here in set number 1. Back to serve will be Pocolinio. A weak soaring serve, but it is kept alive by Butler. Tip to the net. Diving save there made by Portis. Kept alive. Punched back over there by Verdeback. Here comes the setup. Now blocked at the net. On the kill attempt there by Portis. And on the block there was Shea Horn.
And Horn just in perfect defensive positioning to knock that kill attempt back to the Cleveland State side. Then no one in that front line was just able to get a hand on it and knock it back out.
Elizabeth Lou serves. Here comes the setup in the middle. A little too much air on it there for Hannah Green. The middle hitting junior from McDonald, Pennsylvania. Actually, no.
They ruled that it was tipped.
Oh, they ruled that it was tipped, rather. So it'll actually be a point for Cleveland State. 13-9. Back to serve is going to be Tout. Dug out. Here comes the setup now. That's going to go over for Sheridan. Sheridan. Set it now and then just bumped over there by Trinity Hall. Butler on the attack. Comes over with it and a successful kill. And on that one is Megan Ramsey.
Piccolino had a chance to get that. It was just a bit too far to her right for her to really have a good play at it, though. But attempt all the same. But Butler really starting to look like the better team now, Donovan.
14-9 Butler on top here by 5. Here comes a high serve up by Sherindon. Megan Sherindon is dug out. Here comes the setup and tipped by the block. And it looks like the kill there by Trinity Hall will be successful as she decides to go with some touch. Just barely scraped by the block on that one. 14-10 side out Cleveland State. Back to serve will be McConaughey, the defensive specialist freshman from Amherst, Ohio. Cleveland State, again, trying to find their first win of the season. We are in set number 1 of the opening match of the Bowling Green Invitational. Butler does have 1 win.
And that was kind of a fluke play there. Just a timeout called there by head coach Shannon Clark.
Yeah, that was, as you say, not the prettiest of looking plays there off of the serve. And so Butler thinking they might need to correct some of their mental errors, as it looks like Cleveland State's news.
Right now, though, is Cleveland State on the attack errors. 9 attack errors here in the first set.
And that's out of 22 attempts, so they've had more attempts, too. They do have more kills, but again, Butler playing a lot cleaner offensively. Butler's one, I think, the biggest weakness right now has been their service errors. They're actually Cleveland State's first 3 points you had mentioned were actually on service errors. Since then, they've kind of cleaned that area up, but again, these early games, it's about the mental play, too. All sports, especially volleyball, though, is a mental game, and when you have to play a 10 a.m. first serve game, it's kind of hard. You got to wake yourself up a little early, get into your routine a little bit earlier. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out as well. Looks like Cleveland State will break their timeout. Huddle here a little early. Coming out, it looks like it'll be Emily DeJour. She'll be joined by Audrey McConaughey. Trinity Hall will be out there as well with the also looks like Piccolino will be out with them as well, joined by Lindsay Tout, the libero. And the final player on the court is number 6, Christina Greco. Back to serve will be Audrey McConaughey. Butler is joining us now on the court, and we are ready to get underway. Again, left to right it goes. It's going to be dug out. Here comes the setup now here. That's Horn. Dug out by Piccolino, but Cleveland State will get the point on an attack error there.
Like a net violation, I believe is what they called there.
I didn't see an official symbol. I just saw them give the point, but I didn't see other official symbol. But anyway, Cleveland State back now within 2. This one's served up and over. It's going to be dug out. Here comes the setup once again for Horn. Horn dug out by Piccolino. It's going to be right at the net. Flipped back over by Horn. Here comes the setup now. Both far side. That's DeGeorge. And DeGeorge with the kill as a couple of Bulldogs die for it, including libero Elizabeth Labou.
And Cleveland State has done a good job to claw their way back into this so far. Now a 1-point game, 14-13.
They're on quite a bit of a run now, Jacob. Piccolino, or actually McConaughey, will be back to serve. This one put up and diving stop there by Labou to get that one, and then just flipped over for a free play. Here comes the setup. No, it's a deception move. Going back over into the net, kept alive again. Labou will just bump it over, but it looks like they will rule a net violation here on the Bulldogs. We are all knotted up here at 14 in set number 1. of the opening match of the Bowling Green Invitational.
And what a way to start it off here. A real back and forth set.
This one's flipped over by McConaughey. It's going to be dug out. Here comes the setup now. Looks like that's for Robinson. And Robinson, who just checked into the game, will find the back corner there. It's going to be point Bulldogs, side out Bulldogs, 15-14. Bulldogs on top by 1. And Robinson not getting the chance to go back and serve. She'll rotate out, as rotating in will be Jillian Zimba. This is a defensive specialist, sophomore at 5'8" from Zionsville, Indiana. Just gonna put this one up and over the net. It's gonna be dug out here and gonna be set up now for Trinity Hall. Trinity Hall goes soft with the tip and point Bulldogs.
And I believe they call that on a net error, and Chuck Voss not happy about it.
So that'll be 16-14 Bulldogs. Again, Cleveland State clawing their hitting percentage back up there at a negative .080, but that's not gonna help with the mental errors as well. Here comes the setup now. That's DeGeorge. Set up and put in the middle there. Off the deflection. Brooke Gregory gets the kill. So credit the kill there for Brooke Gregory, and the Bulldogs now climbing back up on top. 17-14 as they try to win the race to the red zone. Serving for the Bulldogs is Zimba again. McConaughey digs that one out. Set up here again, and Emily DeGeorge not going to be denied this time. Finds the back corner. Side out Cleveland State, and it's a 17-15 game. Checking out for Cleveland State will be Gilia Piccolinio. And I believe rotating back in was that
Avery.
It's Avery?
Yeah,
Avery. And then back to serve is going to be Emily DeGeorge. Hard to see. There's a post right in my way where they sub in. Here comes a kill, set up and thrown down. Perfectly placed there by Brooke Gregory again. She finds that back corner, and the official right there makes the right call. 18-15. Butler up by 3 again. We will send Brooke Gregory back to serve. The senior. This one's going to be dug out, kept alive here in Trinity Hall. She's going to try to go sideways with this one. It is just tipped back by the Bulldogs. Trinity Hall will get set up again. She's tipped by the block. Diving stop there made by Sharandon, but the Bulldogs aren't able to do anything to do with it. Actually,
it's a net violation.
No, it looks
was the call. And the Bulldog player's not happy with it. We'll see if they want it. And it looks like there is going to be a challenge issued.
The green challenge card has been thrown down. So football, it's red flag. In volleyball, it's a green card, which is different than the red and yellow card that we see in soccer. A lot different. So we do see the challenge issued here by Shannon Clark. See if we can get some sort of replay, but we might not have access to it. So that one's hard to see. I was actually looking down at my roster sheet to call the right name.
It looks like we're done with it
already.
Quick. And Cleveland State is still awarded the point after video review.
That was
from my point
quickest challenge I had ever seen.
From my point of view, I did not catch the player's number, but I did see a hand go over top of the net and hit the top of that net, I believe is where they called that violation. And Shannon Clark, I still don't think is happy with the call.
Either way, it was a very quick replay, so it must have been pretty obvious to say, yeah, there's no way you're going to win this challenge, and she still wants a further explanation. Still doesn't seem quite the happiest person with it, but she'll move on, as all good head coaches do. Once we get back underway here, left to right serving will be Trinity Hall, senior from Orrville, Ohio. She puts this one up and over. It's going to be dug out. Here comes the setup. Here it's going to be for Logan. Logan's dug out by Cleveland State. Going across court here. Tipped at the net. Kept alive. Avery's in on it. Tipped. There at the net. Credit the kill. It's going to be Megan Shrandon. Good placement there just to beat the block, but not enough on it that any Viking was able to come dig it out. 19-16 your score. Butler on top. Back to serve is going to be Reisier. Remseer takes this one up and over. It's going to be going on the slide now is Hannah Green. It's going to be dug out. Put up over here. Anna Logan. Oh, Logan gets the kill as this one is sent off of a Viking and back towards where the Bowling Green State University. Is that Bowling Green?
That's UNC.
No, it's actually UNC. Sorry.
It's Charlotte.
I should know that.
Play on that.
Because that goes back to the Charlottes here on scouting report. And on that, Vikings will get a point as the kill attempt there goes out of bounds. So an attack error there on Butler. So 2017, the Butler Bulldogs on top. Back to serve and checking in is going to be Katie Jorn. Katie Jorn, the senior from Derby, Kansas. She plays setter as well. She also can play some offense as well. Here comes the setup on the low serve. It's dug out. Set up in the middle. That's Anna Logan. Dug out. Deception move. Dug out there by Risps here. Going over now here. It's Logan again. Logan gets the kill as this one goes off of Chelsea Penfield, rather. 21-17. Bulldogs up by 4.
So look, it's going to be Anna Logan back to serve it this time. Still, really, Cleveland State's biggest issue has been attack errors, as that one's put down there. I apologize, Donovan. I lost track of my words.
Butler gets the block there as a couple of Bulldogs work the net well. And timeout, Cleveland State, as Butler up again by 5. Cleveland State trying not to fall here, 1-0. And again, an 0-1 start to a match is never impossible to overcome, but it becomes a lot harder from there as your margin for error becomes even slimmer. But Butler right now definitely looking like the team that might just be a little bit more awake here to start the Invitational.
And we say that, but if you look at the stats, Cleveland State leads in digs, and Butler has 4 service errors. Cleveland State hasn't had any yet. It's 33
really what's
attack percentage, and still
really what's been hurting the Vikings is they still don't have a plus hitting percentage. They're hitting they're hitting negative .030, if I could speak right there. 11 errors to just 10 kills, while the Butler Bulldogs are playing a lot cleaner. 11 kills to 2.
And 11 attack errors for the Cleveland State Vikings.
Yeah, no, that right there is, I think, the biggest factor going into this one right now. And a lot of that has been good defense, though, from the Bulldogs. They've got a couple of really good blocks. They now have 2.5 blocks as a team already. And leading the way in that category for the Bulldogs with 2 blocked assists and a solo block is Davidson. That's what she can do. She can get up and block it. Back to serve is going to be Logan. She puts this one up and over. It's going to be dug out. Here comes the setup going far side, looking for Avery, and Avery hits this one into the net. It's going to be 23-17 now. Bulldogs 2 points away from winning set 1. A reminder, you do have to get to 25 points, but you also have to win by 2 to win a set. Except for the 5th set that only goes to 15. Tip to the net on the kill attempt there. It's going to be dug out, set up in the middle here. Flipped kill by Melody Davidson. Davidson with the kill. Bulldogs have set point.
And Tout was she got a hand on that. She just set it where no one else could get to it. And yeah, I have to wonder if that is that tiredness we've been talking about.
Slow floating serve, but it is kept alive. Here comes the setup, tip to the net, dug out. Here comes the setup now, going in the middle. That's Robinson. Robinson blocked, tipped, kept alive. Setting up in the middle. And Logan Portis keeps the Vikings alive with the point there. Gets the side out, 24-18.
That was perfect placement for that. Ramseer was coming in on that, and the kill attempt was just real deceptive. Cleveland State couldn't have put that ball in a better place.
Piccolino rotates to serve. Kana Avery rotates out. Low dig, kept alive here. Here comes the setup, and blocked by a couple of Vikings. Kept alive by the Bulldogs, but it's not going to get back to the other side of the net. I don't know how they kept that one off of the block, but somehow they did manage to dig that one out. So 24-19, Vikings trying to get back in this one, and Piccolino will go back to serve. Again, 24-19 your score. Piccolino puts this one up and over. It's going to be dug out. Here comes an awkward setup and toss over there by Sherendon. Here comes the setup now for that's DeGeorge, and DeGeorge with the kill. Don't look now, but Vikings aren't going down without a fight. 24-20. Bulldogs still on top and still with set point. DeGeorge get the kill. How many points do we see a timeout here, I think?
I'd say if it gets to 24-22, Bulldogs will probably call the timeout.
Here comes the setup. Tipped to the net is Sherendon. Kept alive there by Piccolino. Here comes the setup in the middle. It tipped off the block and down on the Bulldogs side. 24-21. Timeout. Bulldogs.
And this is kind of a danger zone. Cleveland State playing with their back up against the wall, and they've played their best volleyball of the match so far. They're finally above 0 in the hitting percentage. They got a .26.
And yes, they have
0.26, pardon me.
13 kills to the 12 errors, and Butler right now has committed a couple of errors more. However, the biggest thing for the Butler Bulldogs now is they just can't seem to get that final kill. And you know, volleyball's a game of scoring, it's a game of runs, but it's also a very much a defensive game. And right now, Cleveland State's finding that right defense, getting the blocks backed up nicely. And their blocks are working in favor of them too, just in general. They're sending back a couple. They do have one official block rather as a team now. And they look like they finally might have gotten this one in gear. Question was it a little too late? Because again, Bulldogs sitting there 24-21 with set point.
The Bulldogs, they got the set point. The issue is they're not playing like they were the first half of this set. They've made some mental errors, and yeah, it was a great block there. I can't remember who it was, but Butler just couldn't play that right. We'll see if they can come back with this one and finish it out before Cleveland State has a chance to get within 2.
Davidson, Sharandon, Remsier, as well as Logan join the court. LeBou is out there as well, and then Brittany Robinson, the final woman out there for the Butler Bulldogs. Back to serve once again will be Julia Piccolinio. She'll put this one up and over the net. A low dig, but it does get dug out by LeBou. Here comes the setup, go cross court, and just a little bit too much there by Robinson. 24-22. Vikings get back within 2. No quit. Julia Piccolinio will go back to serve. She'll take her time with the dribble routine. Again, so much pressure on these serves with set point. She stores this one up. LeBou sends it right back and put right back down there by, that's London Portis. 24-23, and one more point. We will have extra points here in set number 1. Cleveland State continuing to battle back.
That was just a fantastic play there. There's no other way to say that.
Portis serves it up. LeBou digs this one out cleanly. Here comes the setup on the far side, and dug out by Piccolini on the kill attempt there by Sharandon. Here comes the setup in the middle, tip kill. Dug out. That's Ramsier. Again, kept alive, punched up, and kept alive. The kill attempt there was by Verendick. Here comes the setup now. That's Robinson, and Robinson finally ends the set before Cleveland State can force extras, but it is a 25-23 set. Even though they lost that set, Jacob, you had to love, the fight that Cleveland State put up.
Yeah, it was a very interesting set. Cleveland State got down and then came back, but their 12 errors to the 4 of Butler is really what changed. Just Butler having a little bit of a breakdown form-wise in the end of that the end of that set is really what led to Cleveland State being able to come back. I'm excited to see the rest of this.
All right, we will step aside, and when we come back, we'll have set number 2. Butler up 1-0 after they took set 1, 25-23. You're listening or watching BGU in the Stroh Center in Bowling Green, Ohio. The BGS, or is it the Bowling Green? I believe it's Bowling Green Invitational, right?
It's the Hampton Inn Bowling Green Invitational.
All right. The Hampton Inn Bowling Green Invitational getting underway here. Set number 2 in the opening match between the Butler Bulldogs and the Cleveland State Vikings.
And it looks like we might have a video review of the last point of the last set here.
They're discussing something at the scoring table.
As they are looking at the video, and now they're walking away. We'll see what's happening. Not exactly sure what they're looking at.
They've had a conversation with both head coaches on both sides, continue to discuss what's going on, and now they're just moving on. They're just going to check the lineups. We'll refresh those lineups for you here for Cleveland State. Of course, libero Lindsay Tout's going to be out there. She's going to be joined by DeGeorge and Avery, as well as it looks like out there is going to be London Portis, and I believe that last player is Greco for Butler. It's going to be Logan, joined by libero Elizabeth Labou. Also out there is going to be Horn, Brooke Gregory. Williams here as we see this one served up by Cleveland State to start set number 2. Here comes the setup and flip down, dug out there nicely by Greco. Here comes the setup now. That's Portis, kept alive, Butler Bulldogs. And shooting across get there is Gregory. Gregory with a little bit too much on it as that one goes too far. Point, Cleveland State, they'll get the first point to open this one. Set number 1 looked like kind of Butler was going to flex there at the early going. They kind of took a dominant lead, but then Cleveland State not once but twice fought back and almost forced extra points as we see this one set up and put over by Horn. On the slide, here comes, and putting that one down is London Portis. So a 2-0 start here for Cleveland State, who again, I was mentioning, and now I'll let you take this one here for my setup, was Cleveland State showed a lot of heart in that first set.
They really did, and they're showing why they can be one of the most dangerous teams in the Horizon League.
Back to serve and putting this one up and over is going to be Horn. Here comes the serve and put down by Avery, kept alive, Bulldogs. Just gonna have to flip this one over for a free play. It is tipped at the net. That's Tout. Tout's gonna set up, and coming in on the slide is Avery, kept alive by the Bulldogs. This one, an accidental free play will be put back over. And the setup now for Green. Back to serve, once again, will be Emily DeGeorge. Puts this one up and over, dug out. Here comes the setup and put down. It's gonna be dug out there by Tout of the Vikings. Vikings put this one over. Diving save, kept alive there, and then just punched over by Horn. Here comes the setup in the middle now, that's Remsier. Off the tip, it goes out of bounds, so now Vikings flexing here early. It's gonna be 4-0.
We'll see how long Sharon Clark's going to let this go before she decides to call timeout.
DeGeorge again, diving save there by Butler. Flipping this one up over now, that is Sherendon. And Sherendon finally gets the Bulldogs on the board. Actually, correction, no, Cleveland State gets on the board as they put that one back down. Here on the replay, beautifully timed block, and that one was blocked there by Kiana Avery. Beautifully timed and perfect touch to put that one right back down, because sometimes those blocks, they'll get deflected out of bounds when they're that close to the sideline, but a good time block and a good put down there to put Cleveland State up 5-0 pickup.
Yeah, and you really can't ask for much more if your head coach Chuck Voss they're doing a fantastic job just getting the ball over, getting key blocks, and now placing the ball. It seems like after that first set, the adrenaline's going. It looks like they've finally woken up some. And they're just playing, like I said, one of the better teams in their conference.
And yeah, certainly, the Bulldogs, no pushover team. They did win that first set, but Cleveland State, I think, after the slow start, really did come back to kind of take all the momentum, even though they didn't win. But it's interesting to see now what that Bulldog sideline does. And Sharon Clark, the head coach, is drawing up here maybe to get her team back awake, as their Bulldogs do lead 1-0, but they're trailing 5-0 here in set number 2. Here come the Bulldogs. Out for the timeout is Elizabeth Labou, joined by Anna Logan. out there with Shay Horn, joined with Brooke Gregory, Megan Ramseer, and I believe also that is going to be Megan Schrandel. Back to serve once again will be Emily DeGeorge, the outside hitter from Jefferson, Ohio. Serving for the 6th straight time. Again, she's the only one serving here in set number 2. Vikings have gone on a 5-0 run, blocked at the net again, punched back over. Here comes the setup. Cleveland State will get the free play. Going over again, that is Portis. And on the attack error there, probably the one big thing for Cleveland State, probably the reason why they lost that first set was because of their attack errors, and there Portis commits one. Butler gets the side out now. It's 5-1. And back to serve is going to be Trandon. She puts this one up and over. It's going to be dug out there by DeGeorge. Set up here in the middle. Hannah Green with the kill. As unable to dig that one out was Megan Trandon.
So in the first set, an attack error like that on the last play might have deflated Cleveland State a little bit, but they're playing like a team that has much more confidence now, up 6-1.
On the side out, back to serve is going to be Lindsay Tout, the libero. The sophomore, she'll put this one up and over. Might have been a little bit too far, but not taking any chances was Milstead. Here comes a power throwdown, but it's kept alive. Going over here on the slide, it's going to be Avery. Bulldogs set it up in the middle, goes off the net, and down it goes. Not sure if there was a tip there. Really doesn't matter as it lands inbounds. So an attack error there on the Bulldogs now. The Bulldogs looking a little sloppy here to start set number 2. It's 7-1 Cleveland State. Serving it up again are the Vikings. Almost a service ace, but kept alive, and then eventually just sent back over by LeBou. And now here comes up the middle, and the kill there was Trinity Hall. 8-1, Vikings on top by 7 here. A lot cleaner offensively, Jacob, in this second set to start off.
Yeah, it looks like a completely different team than we saw in the first set.
They are actually almost out hitting the Bulldogs now. At 113, Bulldogs are only hitting 122, and another attack error there on the Bulldogs. As I believe on that one was London Portis just putting a little bit too much on it. It's 9-1 now.
And it's almost like these two teams, they switch sides, and now they're playing completely different. Butler came out confident in the first set, but now they're not doing very well as we have a service error there. That one didn't clear the net from Emily DeGeorge.
So that'll be 9-2.
First.
That'll be the second service error there, I believe, on the Vikings. So on the side out, going back to serve now for the Bulldogs is going to be Zimba. She'll put this one up. It'll soar over the net. It's going to be dug out there by Tout. Here comes the setup now, coming up, and blocked at the net was Avery. Kept alive by the Bulldogs, and then we're going to call a net violation here on Butler. So point for the Vikings. A lot of errors here.
And I think
Trinity Hall saw it right away. And you look at that net here on the replay, it was shaking pretty hard. McConaughey will put this one up and over. It's going to be dug out there by LeBou. Set up in the middle there, tipped at the net, and down it goes. Credit the kill there for Brooke Gregory. The tip sends it out of bounds off of the Vikings, but they still hold that 7-point lead. It's 10-3. And after getting the kill, Gregory will go back to serve. She puts this one up, over. Dug out there by Tout. Here comes the setup, coming open over is Avery. Avery punched alive, running for it here is, that's Milstead, but Milstead ends up putting it on the wrong side of the pin on the far side. Point for Cleveland State. 11-3 they now lead. And Butler right now, the one committing all the errors. It's like a completely different flip from what we saw in set 1. So that'll be putting back to serve. It is going to be Piccolino. Piccolino. It's going to be dug out there by Shane. Tipped at the net, diving for it. That's McConaughey. A triple block there, beaten, but Butler does keep it alive. Put one over, dug out. Here comes the setup now. Here on the slide comes DeGeorge. DeGeorge. A couple of Bulldogs get it into, and now another free play for the Vikings. Looking a lot cleaner here offensively. Going on for Trinity Hall on the slide. It's dug out, that's LeBou. Here comes the setup now, tipped at the net, and getting the kill. It's going to be Anna Logan as that one gets sent too far. Off with a couple of tips. Point Bulldogs, it's 11-4.
And a great rally there. It looks like Cleveland State's communication has gotten a lot better since the beginning of this match, too. You look at the first one, there were two players going for digs a few separate times, and now really communicating out on the floor.
Here comes the setup now, and that is going to be DeGeorge with the kill off of the tip from the Bulldogs as that one goes back towards the stands behind the Bulldogs. That'll be Vikings 12, Bulldogs 4. Trinity Hall will go back to serve. Soars it up and over the net, dug out by LeBeau. Here comes the setup now, and they're going to call a bad set here, I believe, and they will, on Butler, so another 3-point for Cleveland State. Here in set 2. Again, they trail 1-0 to the Bulldogs, but Trinity Hall serves this one up. A lot of air under it, but kept alive. Blocked back at the net. On the kill there, on the attempt there was Melody Davidson, but Cleveland State getting up on that one, and timeout Bulldogs. It's 14-4. Cleveland State on top. Let's watch the replay here. Looks like a pretty good setup here, and then just a perfectly timed block there by Cleveland State. Getting in on that one, I believe, was Hannah Green and company. I mean, that's just as beautiful as it gets when it comes to blocking.
Yeah, technique-wise, it was perfect. Now, like we said, the script in this second set has been completely flipped, Donovan. Not even flipped, it's been rewritten a little bit, as now Cleveland State leads by 10.
They're hitting a 150 now, and in this set, they're just playing a lot cleaner. They only have the one error, and that's in contrast to the 12 they had in set number 1. Meanwhile, you look at the other side for Butler, they have more errors already in this set than they did in set number 1. They have 5 errors to the 4 they had in set 1.
And if you just look at the set hitting percentage, Cleveland State hitting at 389 right now, Butler at minus 167. It's a completely different team out there. I don't know how to explain it, really.
Well, you know, you saw it from Michigan. You saw it from Cleveland State a little earlier in that set. You know, they had that one moment. Butler kind of jumped out to the 5-some lead. Then Cleveland State comes back, ties it up, gets a little bit of a lead, loses it. Butler flexes back out to another 5-point lead, gets set point, and almost looked like Butler was just going to put them away there in set 1 early. And then Cleveland State almost forced extra points, ended up making a 25-23 set. So I think that's just carrying over here into the second set. Cleveland State has woken up here, and now we're seeing it here in set 2. 14-4, the Vikings lead. Trinity Hall will go back to serve right to left, but she serves it into the net. Service error there for the Bulldogs. Or service error there, rather, on Cleveland. Point Bulldogs, side-out Bulldogs. Back to serve will be Anna Logan.
I believe that's the 3rd service error on the Vikings.
She'll flip this one up and over there. It's going to be dug out. Here comes the setup now. Coming up and over is going to be DeGeorge. Dug out. LeBeau is going to set this one up. That's Sherendon. Flipped over on the deception move there, and the kill successful for Christian Greco.
And really good job by the Vikings to come back from that. After that set to Emily DeGeorge was just a bit too far back. She wasn't able to hit it as well as she wanted to.
Christina Greco will go back to serve. She puts this one up over the net. It's going to be dug out by LeBeau. Here comes the setup now. And that's going to be for Sherendon. Sherendon, though, blocked at the net. Cleveland State looking so good defensively up at the net. 16-5, they lead by 11. Again, we see the replay here. Perfect move, and again on that one was Hannah Green. Blocked at the net. It's Green again! 17-5 Vikings on top. Cleveland State doing really well here. Completely different team as we talked about already. Interesting to see what adjustments Butler makes here to finish off this set and then go into set 3. Served up and over. It's Greco. Tip of the net, able to beat it this time, kept alive. They continue to punch over, and they will get it over on the 3rd touch. Dug out by the Bulldogs. Here comes the setup now, and going up with the touch is going to be Shea Horn. Side out for the Bulldogs as they get the point there. Still 17-6 for Cleveland State. Back to serve the libero. It's going to be Elizabeth LeBeau. Up. Awkwardly hit, but it is over and dug out there. Setting up on the far side and hitting the pin off the block. Credit the kill there for number 12, London Portis. Point, Cleveland State, 18-6.
And talking about Hannah Green, she's really been the difference maker about halfway through that first set into now. Leads the team in kills as well as points.
Yeah, Green
and
with
solo blocks.
Green with 5 blocks, all on her own. And now we see a service ace there for the Vikings. It's going to be Emily DeGeorge who will go back to serve. Again, she'll serve for the 2nd time in a row. 19-6 Vikings on top here. Puts this one up and over. It's going to be dug out. Flipped back down, though, as the dig off the serve goes back on the Cleveland State side. Getting up and over. Was that to Green again? Was that Green again?
I believe it was. As we get substitutions in. Donovan, you've called a lot of volleyball in your years here. Have you seen a team in one set turn around how well they were blocking as well as Cleveland State has?
Not in recent memory, no, I can't think. Here comes the setup now for Sherandon. It's going to be dug out, but the dig is going to send it past the first official here up on the ladder. And obviously you have to go between the 2 pins and you can't go behind the official. And so there's a point for the Bulldogs on the kill. Make it 20-7 though. Cleveland State still on top. Back to serve is going to be the Bulldogs. It's going to be set up here to Green. Tipped at the net, kept alive by the Bulldogs. Punched up and over. Now sent across court. That's Robinson. Going over here now, the Bulldogs are going to go for Avery. Avery, punch back over, it's Green. Somehow the Bulldogs keep it alive, blocked again. Here comes the setup, going in the middle, tipped by the block, diving, kept up there by Emily DeGeorge. Here's the setup, tip kill. Bulldogs on a rally here now. Allie Logan, blocked at the net again, and it's Green. Green on the block again. This time she's assisted by London Portis.
Trinity Hall checks in now up front.
21-7 Bulldogs. Back to serve, it's going to be Shea Horn. Or correction, looking at the wrong roster there, it's Lindsay Tout. This one's going to be dug out. Here comes the deception move. Great diving save there by Grekel. Set up for Portis. Portis tipped to the net, kept alive there by LeBeau, sent back over to Cleveland State. Here comes the setup now for Tout. Tout dug out by LeBeau. Here comes the setup, and he's just flipping it over for a free play. That's Robinson. Again, they're going to go for Avery. Avery, LeBeau. Put it now in the middle. That's number 12. Gregory, and Gregory with a little bit too much on it. Directs it out of bounds there with no tip. 22-7. Cleveland State on top here. Looking to finish this one early before Butler can even get double digits. That'll send Lindsay Tout back to serve. Put up and over the net. It's going to be dug out here by the Bulldogs. Set up now and punched over for a free play. That's Robinson. Comes to set up now in the middle for Trinity Hall. Trinity Hall is going to be dug out there. That's Logan. Set up now with a little bit too much, or actually a lot of too much error on there. Brittany Robinson commits another attack error for the Bulldogs. They're now only hitting 043 on the match and only in a negative 182 hitting percentage in the set. Not the cleanest of sets. This one's put up and over. LeBeau digs it out. Here comes the setup going on the far side. Robinson. Robinson going to be dug out by the diving DeGeorge. Here comes the setup, and having to recorrect her timing there is Avery. And Avery, it's blocked, but blocked out of bounds. 24-7. Cleveland State with set point. Trying to make it 1-1 in the set count. And trying to make it so you at least see 4 sets. LeBeau digs this one out. On the far side there, that's Logan. Logan is going to be dug out by the Vikings. Set up now for Portis. Portis with a little bit too much on that one. Or actually, no, one official rules the tip. The one on my blind spot rules the tip. So point set for Cleveland State. They went 25-7 here in set 2. That's pretty impressive, Jacob.
Especially after the first set, they went down early, and it ended up only losing that set by 2. But to turn around and beat Butler 25-7, that's just an extremely impressive feat.
It is, I think, probably one of the biggest turnarounds I've seen since calling volleyball here at BGSU, and I've called a lot for the Falcons in my time here, my first neutral site match. But I mean, to go from the way they looked in set 1, they didn't look terrible in set 1. They showed a lot of heart in set 1 coming back in that one. But to go from a back and forth match to just or back and forth set 1 rather, to an absolutely just dominant Cleveland State set 2, that says a lot, I think, about Cleveland State and the coaching staff under Chuck Voss. Again, you don't stick around for 20 seasons and not be good at your job.
Correct. Cleveland State historically has been pretty good Very good volleyball school in the Horizon League, the Horizon League itself is it's not a pushover league. You think about who's in there, it's like, it's Green Bay, Youngstown State, Milwaukee, Illinois, Chicago, Northern Kentucky, Oakland, Wright State, and IUPUI.
And again, Wright State, no pushover over team. They actually, last weekend, they beat Notre Dame, an ACC school, in a 5-set bout, if I'm thinking correctly. And, in Notre Dame, that's no easy task. I was there for that in the Golden Dome Invitational, broadcasting for BGSU only. But, I mean, I got to see that Wright State game, and Wright State was a very impressive team. So, again, you said that Horizon League is no pushover whatsoever. And, Cleveland State, this is a complete turnaround, I think, from set one. I mean, they went from hitting 048 in a set where they mainly hit in the negatives to hitting 375 in set number two. You just look at that there for them. That's an impressive little number. Meanwhile, their opponent hitting 243 in the first set. Defensively, they were up on those blocks. They didn't have a single block in set one, but then they come up and have some pretty crucial blocks in set two. 10 total as a team, and that's, of course, all being led the way by Madam Green.
And Butler, they really took over where Cleveland State left off in the first set. Cleveland State only ended up having two attack errors in that second set. They only had one. Butler had 10 in the second set.
Yeah, Cleveland State, I don't know if there's much you can say other than, hey, just look out for some adjustments that Butler can make here, because he got the 5-minute set break between sets. For Cleveland State, I don't know if there's much you can say, Jacob, about what they need to fix. I think it's just kind of like, hey, keep doing what you're doing, keep on keeping on. We'll make some adjustments if needed. For Butler, I think you got to find something, because that was not the prettiest of sets for Butler.
Oh, it was not by any stretch of the imagination. The good news is they get that little bit longer break in between these sets, and they can come out and try to turn around what they've been, or turning around like Cleveland State did after the first.
I think first and foremost for Butler, they've got to find a way to beat the blocks, because that's really what was getting them. Cleveland State looked so crisp up at the net, playing their defensive strategy. They've got to find a way to get around those blocks. We'll find out if Butler does have an answer for Cleveland State's dominant set number two, as we are tied at 1 set apiece here at the Stroh Center. We'll be back in just about a minute. You're listening and or watching BGRSO's coverage of the Bowling Green Invitational here at the Stroh Center. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And we're back out here in the Stroh Center, match number one of the Hampton Inn Bowling Green Invitational between two of the traveling schools. Cleveland State Vikings functioning as the quote-unquote road team here in this neutral site matchup. Butler Bulldogs functioning as the home team. We are tied at 1 set apiece between these two teams. It was a 25-23 first set win for Butler, and then an absolutely dominant 25-7 win in that set two for the Vikings of Cleveland State. Butler will serve to open up this set. It's going to be Jillian Zimba. Right to left, here we go. It's a dugout. Here comes the setup now. Coming up on the other side, that is going to be Avery. Bulldogs keep it alive, and then they're going to call this one just out of bounds, and yes, it was right on that line. So Cleveland State will start off again where they left off, getting a point, and a side out there. Yeah, that one was close, Jacob, but just right there on that line.
It was extremely close, but good views from officials on both sides, able to call that one right away.
Top dug out by Zimba. Here comes a setup and a foot kill, but it's going to be dug out there by Cleveland State. It's Greco. Going over here now, it's going to be Avery. Avery, dug out. Bulldogs keep it alive. Punch down, tip to the net. Cleveland State recovers. On the attempt there was Logan. Comes a setup again for Avery. Keeping it alive, but just barely in a free play there for Cleveland State. Set up in the middle. Trinity Hall mishits. She kind of mistimed her jump there, and you know, she's a good player, but everybody makes mistakes, and that was just a mistime of her jump there by Trinity Hall.
And the senior out of Orrville, Ohio, down in Wayne County, has had herself a pretty good match thus far. Just little mental error there.
Gregory serves for the Bulldogs, and then Cleveland State coming on the attack there, managed to get that one to ride the net ever so slightly with no tip, but it does find the near sideline here for Cleveland State. So it'll be 2-1. Cleveland State back on top by 1. Boy, that one rode the net. I thought that one might have gone a little bit too far, but it stayed in bounds. And now we'll see the serve by McConaughey. Kept alive, and it'll be a service ace from McConaughey after a couple of weak hits there by the Bulldogs, and it's eventually tipped out of bounds towards the scoring table. McConaughey, rather. And McConaughey will go back to serve. And from service ace to service error, not by much, but she does miss the court, so now 3-2 point for Butler.
And each team has had a few service errors today, more than we're usually accustomed to seeing. I believe we have 5 or 6 combined now.
Tipped at the net, kept alive there by Butler on the attack attempt by Avery. This one's punched over. Diving stop there by Tout for Cleveland State. Avery goes up with it again. Kept alive, flipped over. That's Davidson, and Davidson, too much power and too much air. Point Cleveland State, 4-2.
So substitution looks like Piccolino comes in.
Piccolino will come in and go back to serve for the Vikings. She'll take her time, do some dribbles. Finally gets it up and over the net. It's going to be dug out by LeBou. Here comes the setup now. Go across court, dug out. There was Anna Logan on the attack. Here comes the setup now, punched over by Avery. Set up here, and a completely mistimed jump there. Another mental error. It was supposed to be for Melody Davidson. I think she just mistimed her jump. I don't know if she was supposed to be the deceiving jump and they were supposed to go for somebody else. But anyway, that was not a pretty looking play there by Butler as the Vikings now lead 5-2.
And Shannon Clark letting Ramsey hear it on the sideline.
Polino's serve is dug out. Here comes the setup now. That is for Sherendon, kept alive. As the Vikings now go on the attack, and a perfectly placed there by Kiana Avery. A strong kill as she goes and finds that back corner. It's now 6-2, Vikings on top by 4. And picking up really right where they left off with a dominant display at Jacob.
Yeah, the Vikings trying to not look back at all the rest of this match, and so far doing a good job.
You see the dig there by the Vikings. Going to go again for Avery. Avery is going to be dug out. Here comes the setup now. Really, Butler struggling offensively, but that one is given over by Zimba. The Vikings and Tout will just put this one over for free play. Here comes the setup on the far side. Blocked at the net again. On that one was Logan. Here comes a tip over the block, and that's how you beat those blocks. You've got to tip it and just get it right past the fingers. There's a strong play there by the Bulldogs to get themselves a side out and get back within 3. Going back to serve now is going to be Anna Logan, the redshirt senior from Indianapolis, Indiana. Here comes the dig out, and now the setup going on there from the side. That's for Emily DeGeorge. And DeGeorge gets the kill as she finds a way past the defense, 7-3. Back to serve is going to be Trinity Hall now for the Vikings. Left to right, dug out. Set up now here, that's going to be for Horn. Horn manages to get the kill as that one messed up the timing there by Trinity Hall, who's trying to come on the dig. It actually went off her hand as it fell out of bounds, but you got to credit the effort there. And I think she's actually hobbling just a little bit coming off the court. She's going to have a conversation with her head coach. LeBou serves this one up for the Bulldogs. Here comes the setup, and coming on the slide there is Green with power, somehow keeping it alive and unable to punch it over for a free play for the Bulldogs as they scramble defensively. So credit, I think, officially the kill for Green. It's 8-4 Cleveland State back on top. And again, I think Green right now has been the player of the match for the Vikings.
Yeah, she's really single-handedly helped turn this around as Portis checks back in for the Vikings.
Greco serves this one up and over. It's going to be dug out by Logan. Here comes the setup in the middle, but it's dug out. That's going to be Tout on that one. Sent over, that's DeGeorge. Going over now for the Bulldogs. On the kill there is Megan Sherandon. Point for the Bulldogs, back within 3. It's 8-5, side out. And coming back to serve is going to be Megan Sherandon. She puts this one up, over, dug out. Comes the setup now, coming on the slide is Green. Green puts it down past the block and gets the kill. Really impressed with what I'm seeing here from Green.
Green leading and now with, I believe, 9 kills. Should be 8. And I believe that says she has 6 blocks, so either solo or assisted so far.
Actually, they might have. Look, scoreboard is saying it's 8-6. I'm pretty sure it's 9-5 though. Get that corrected here. Here comes the setup now for, that is going to be Portis, and Portis once again with the kill on the deflection going out of bounds, so make it now 10-5. Point once again for Cleveland State. And going back to serve once again will be DeGeorge. George puts it up and over. It's going to be dug out. Here comes the setup. It's going to come over here for Horn. Horn tipped at the net, kept alive by Cleveland State, scrambling to get it, but they do manage to get it over for the free play. Off of the hands of Brickle. Coming on the attack there. It's going to be Brooke Gregory. Gregory gets it through the block and then lands in play for the kill. Make it 10-6 Bulldogs. Side out. Looks like Horn's going to check out, and checking back in is going to be Jillian Zimba.
And getting the replay of that. Just a perfect job to get it just past the block.
Miscommunication there by Cleveland State, but they do keep it alive. Green throws it down, punched up, kept alive. Now thrown back over by the Bulldogs. Here comes the setup for Avery. Avery, she's blocked at the net. It comes back down, but comes back down out of bounds. So off the block, it's going to be a point for Cleveland State. That's 11-6. So back to serve will be Tout. Just dug out there by Simba. Thrown up and over, and there's the kill there for Anna Logan with power. You know, I've found my time broadcasting volleyball, there's really 2 ways to beat a block. You're either going to tip it up and over, or you're just going to try to power it right through. It's really, either can result in a good play or a bad play for you. And there we just see Anna Logan throw it with power. Coming in and serving, this is the first time we're seeing Rillian Dennis as she serves up and over, and she's unable to make the defensive play there as Cleveland State gets the kill and the point there off of the tip. Rillian Davis, she comes in to serve and then quickly leaves right after. 12-7 on top are the Vikings of Cleveland State, and back to serve is going to be Audrey McConaughey. You wait to go. And we officially get to go now. McConaughey to serve. Up and over. It's going to be dug out. Here comes the setup now for Logan. Logan gets the kill as that one is tipped off of the Viking player, and I believe that goes off of Emily DeGeorge and towards the Viking bench. 12-8. Megan Ramsey will go back to serve now for the Bulldogs. Senior setter. Way too much air, but actually no, it looked like that one might have been safe, and DeGeorge goes ahead and digs it out anyway. LeBlue digs out the kill attempt there. Set up, past the block, and just barely landing in bounds. Literally just finding the baseline there for the Bulldogs. They're back within 3, it's 12-9.
And now the Bulldogs starting to look a little bit like Cleveland State did in that first set coming back.
Ramsey is dug out by DeGeorge. Here comes the setup now for DeGeorge on that far side. And it goes off of number 3, Julian Zimba. And towards the Butler bench there for the point and the kill. DeGeorge with another kill in this one. She looks very strong offensively for the Vikings, and she's got 8 kills to her name already in this one. It's 13-9. We'll see the serve up here by Piccolino. Here comes the setup now, going on that far side, and touchdown off the block, and I believe that one will land out of bounds. Actually, no, it does land inbounds. Anna Logan on the kill there. She'll go back to serve again. 13-10, Bulldogs back within 3. It's tied at 1 set apiece here in set number 3. Bulldogs took set 1 in a close battle. Cleveland State took a very easy set 2 victory, tipped to the net, but kept alive by the Bulldogs here. Punched over by Horn. Vikings under the deception move, but not a good one there by Grekel. There comes the setup, power and kill. Successful there, I believe, on that kill. It's going to be Megan Sherandon.
Just a powerful, powerful kill there. There wasn't much Cleveland State could have done, even if they could have gotten that dig.
Dug out there by McConaughey. Put down by Trinity Hall. Hall comes back with it after the dig goes back on their side of the net. Kept alive by the Bulldogs. Diving stop there by McConaughey. Going over now here and blocked at the net. Emily DeGeorge tries to go with it with power, but a couple of Bulldogs deny her access to their side of the court. Now it's back within 1. Bulldogs on a run here. 13-12. Cleveland State still within 1. And on that block was Melody Davidson. Dug out there, kept alive. And now here comes a bad setup, but getting it over is Trinity Hall. Here comes a setup in the middle. Flipped kill, but Trinity Hall sends it back. Tipped again, kept alive there, but just for a moment as Butler does eventually get the kill. He lands it down on the Cleveland State side. And we are tied at 13, and yes, a much needed timeout, I think, by Chuck Voss and the Cleveland State Vikings. Again, looking for their first. .30, but it's got to be at least a half hour after this one.
So it'll be Charlotte and Bowling Green.
Here comes the dig out on the serve. Going over here, that is into the net, sent on the attack arrow there by DeGeorge. DeGeorge, she's been such an offensive powerhouse in this one, but she's also got 4 attack arrows to her name. In Butler now, up by 1 as this one's soared over there again by Logan. Trinity tipped by the block and out of bounds. It goes right past us here on Media Row. Trinity beating the block there with power. Like I said, you can either tip it over the block or you can just try to run right through it, and Trinity Hall going with the kill there. She puts this one up and over. LeBou tries to dig it out, but it'll be a service ace there for Trinity Hall as that one goes under the net off the dig. So Cleveland State back up by 1. It's 15-14. Hall serves again. LeBou digs it out cleanly this time. Here comes the setup now for Horn. Horn blocked. Kept alive there by LeBou. Tipped at the net, and see if they rule this one out of bounds. They do, but it's tipped out of bounds off the block, so point Butler tied at 15.
And Hall came in, did a really good job serving there. And
here comes the serve up and over. It's going to be dug out by DeGeorge. Here comes coming on the slide. It's Green. She beats the block. I mean, she goes absolutely sideways with that kill attempt, and not in time to get down and try to dig that one out was Butler. So credit another kill there for Green, who continues to impress now with her game-leading 9th kill to go along with her 6 blocks, 2 of which were solo. Horn dug out, punched out, somehow kept alive there for a moment by Grekel, but the punch there was no chance for Emily DeGeorge to try to get back to that one. So a point for the Bulldogs, tying it back up at 16.
And Greco had the right idea there. Get in, get your hand on the ball. Just no one else was able to get to it.
Shrandon will go back to serve for the Bulldogs. Puts this one up, over. Getting down and trying to dig it out was DeGeorge, but kind of goes down awkwardly and sends it right towards the scoring table, and the crew working there on the stats on the sideline. So Bulldogs back up by 1 now. It's 17-16.
And we got some sweat on the floor, so they're working to get that mopped up. And by they, I mean the Cleveland State players themselves.
Yeah, and of course the players will know exactly. They don't want a wet volleyball court. You do not want to be slipping and sliding when you're trying to make plays. And perhaps that played a factor in the DeGeorge play, because the way she fell kind of looked weird. I'd never seen a volleyball player try to go for a dig quite like that. She kind of looked like she might have slipped. She digs this one out cleanly, though, on the serve. Here comes the setup. Green is blocked at the net, but it's actually just tipped as it goes straight down and actually hits the shoulder there of Brooke Gregory. Make it 17 all now here. Again, tied at 1 set apiece. Back to serve will be DeGeorge. Credit the kill, by the way, to Green. Serves up, gets over the net. LeBlue digs it out. Here comes the setup now, going on the slide, and that's going to be Gregory. Punched back over by Cleveland State. Butler will get a chance on the deception move. It's going to be dug out there by Greco. Joust to the net. Kept alive there by Cleveland State, but only for a moment, as unable to get it up high enough was going to be Emily DeGeorge, and I think she actually sends it under the net. She might not have been the last touch, but either way, it goes under the net, and you know, you have to go over the net. 18-17. Butler on top by 1, and another chance to wipe up some sweat.
There. Both teams look like they're playing the best volleyball of the match thus far at the same time. It's a very entertaining set here. Some long rallies and some very technically good volleyball being played.
And certainly there will always be the mistakes, but I think in this set, we have seen the cleanest volleyball. It's going to be dug out by Tout. Here comes the setup off the serve, and Green tipped off the block and towards the scoring table again. Here the video replay monitor for the officials. We're tied at 18. Green first to double digits in kills with 10 of either side for either side.
Trinity Hall checks back in for Cleveland State.
So this one up and over. It's going to be dug out there by Zimba. Flipped up off the block and out of bounds. Actually, they're just going to rule it right inbounds. It's kind of hard to see from my perspective when some of those advertisements on the other side are reflective. It's hard to see a white line and white reflection. But that one was definitely right there on the line, and it was off the block. So either way, it is a Butler point. It's now 19-18 Butler. On the side out, coming back in to serve will be Rillian Dennis. Looks like they might be using her as a serving specialist now in place of Brooke Gregory. Puts this one up and into the net, so service error there. And she will once again just be swapped right back out for Brooke Gregory. Making 19 all as the race to the red zone has hit 1 point. Next point will get them into the red zone.
That is service error number 5 of the match on the Butler Bulldogs.
Back to serve is going to be McConaughey, and timeout Butler. Their first timeout of the set. Both teams have used 1 timeout in the set. You know, we've already kind of touched on it, Jacob, but this is like definitely the closest we've seen these two teams. You know, in set 1, it looked like Butler might have been the more ready to play team, at least, you know, at a 10 a.m. start time. They came out, they took an early 5-point lead. Cleveland State fought back, tied it up, even took the lead for a quick moment. But then Butler came back out to another 5-point lead, got set point, and though Cleveland State almost forced extra points, they were just a little slow to the take. And then set 2 was just a completely different story. Cleveland State comes out, wins 25-7, in which Butler, I don't know if they didn't account for an adjustment or what happened in that one, but Butler did come out with a lot stronger of a display. Or actually, Cleveland State came out with a lot stronger of a display in set 2. Now it's finally back and forth match we've expected here. Both teams looking cleaner offensively and defensively.
Yeah, this is what we were expecting when you and I first got here. Both these Cleveland State 0-3, Butler 1-2 coming together. They haven't played marshmallow teams either. New Mexico State, Tennessee State, and Auburn, with the only win for Butler being Tennessee State, and Cleveland State has played number 12 Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh, South Carolina, and Cincinnati. It's 3 very good volleyball schools. So you and I, we originally thought this was going to be close, and it really has, minus that second set.
Which again, sometimes that just happens in volleyball. And again, you need 3 sets to win as this one's served up and over there by McConaughey. You need 3 sets to win in volleyball. That's why they don't play it only 1 set, because you can have a bad set and still recover. That's what Butler's doing right now, is they take a 20-19 lead there with that attack, attempt, and kill. Back to serve once again, it's gonna be Ramsey. So he set up here for Trinity Hall. She's gonna be dug out by Zimba. Here comes the setup now for Logan. Logan dug out, going out the far side. Looks like Avery. Avery finds the line, but just out of bounds, they say. So point Bulldogs, they now take a 2-point lead. It's 21-19. We might be seeing a timeout here from Cleveland State, I think, at the next point, if Butler were to get that next point. Ramsey will go back to serve again. She puts this one up and over the net. It'll be dug out by Tout, the libero. Here comes the setup now for Hall. Hall coming up on the slide with a strong kill. Not much you can do with that one if you're Jillian Zimba.
No, Trinity Hall, when she comes down like that, she might as well be coming down with a hammer, because that's not going to be a very easy ball to keep in play.
So back to serve again will be Piccolino. Piccolino, the defensive specialist from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, puts this one up and over. It'll be dug out. And a service ace there for Piccolino. As the first dig looked like a pretty good one, but then the next touch just really didn't look like they were prepared for it. Now we're tied at 21-all. Piccolino goes up, over. Gonna be dug out, kind of hit awkwardly, but the Boo is there to keep it alive, and now Logan will put it back over. Here comes the setup now, coming on the slide is Trinity Hall, tipped. Good save there by Zimba, but Zimba's dig ends up sending it towards the seats for Butler. As we see
Sheridan running through to the bench seats over there.
And look, Cleveland State back on top, but again, Butler does have 1 timeout if they wish to use it. Piccolino will go back to serve. She puts this one up just barely over the net. LeBou does dig it out. Here comes the setup now for Logan. She's going to put this one over for Piccolino to dig out. Comes the setup, coming on the slide once again is Trinity Hall. Butler gets this one out cleanly, set up for a free play. Hall bounced at the net, won over by the Vikings, but now a free play sent over. Piccolino is going to have to set up Tout. Tout just puts it back over for a free play. And here comes, that's Anna Logan with the kill, tipped by the block and towards the scoring table. We're tied at 22 again. This has the feeling of a set that could go to extra points here. Again, they're trying to take that, both teams trying to take that 2-set-to-1 lead. Trying to get a very crucial 2-set-to-1 lead, try to win it in 4 or 1. Here comes Trinity Hall. And it's a kill for Trinity Hall after the dig there by Anna Logan is sent into the net. 23-22, Vikings on top. Looks like Trinity Hall will rotate out on the side out. We'll see Haley Shane for the first time check into this game. The defensive specialist junior from Bellevue, Ohio. Stores it up and over the net, dug out by Horn. Here comes the setup in the middle for Davidson, dug out. Going now over here for LaGeorge. And there will be a kill as DeGeorge puts a little bit too much under that one. Green will check back in as well. Green checks back in for the Vikings on the side out, going to serve as LeBou, tied at 23. Here comes the dig out, here comes the setup now. Green coming on strong on the slide, but just puts a little bit too much under that one. As it's gonna be set point for Butler, 24-23. As Green, didn't miss by much, but did just miss. LeBou will go back to serve again. Timeout Cleveland State, trying to use their last one here to set the defense, kind of prepare here, find the play to force extra points. Cleveland State had kind of been in charge.
Oh no, they're challenging the call here.
Actually, see the challenge.
So
let's get the replay here as it's set up, coming up on the slide. Green, not a pretty good angle there. See if we've got a better one. This is probably a hard angle to find.
From there, it looks like it could have stayed just in bounds. It's kind of hard to see from this angle.
This might be a better one here.
Top of, oh, maybe there we go. And
no, I think that one is
just a bit outside.
Definitely a bit outside there. Right by the official's foot. maybe a good couple inches off that line. So this, I don't think, will be a successful challenge.
And quick shout out, thank you to WBGU-TV for getting us a replay monitor.
Certainly, yes.
Helping us out with that.
Of course, setting up this live YouTube stream here for the entire Invitational. The next match will be about 30 minutes after the conclusion of this one, or at least the earliest it will start will be 12:30. It'll be the hosting team, Bowling Green State University Falcons, and the Charlotte 49ers. Again, it's 24-23, and there's Butler on top right now. And if this one goes the way Jacob and I think it will, and that is no call, though they're taking a little bit more time with it than we did. Either way, it's going to be set point. It just depends on who it's set point for. And Bulldogs do get the point officially. Call stands. So we see the serve here by LeBou. Anyway, this does give Cleveland State an extra timeout. They give them time to draw up the play they want to do. Got to dig out this serve cleanly, though. So that's a very important part of the serve-receive game. It's going to be dug out there by DeGeorge. It's going to go here for Green in the middle, but Green on the attack error there, mistimes her jump, and that's how Butler will win set 3 to take the 2-1 set lead, 25-23, much like they took set number 1.
And that was a very exciting set to watch, a real back and forth the whole time, and not the blowout, the 25, was it 7 blowout? It was a
25-7 blowout that we saw in set 2. This one, same score as set number 1 with the same result, 25-23 Butler win. But this one, you look at it, this is definitely the cleanest set. Cleveland State made, I think, just a little bit too many more mistakes than Butler did, who hit 350 in this set.
Yeah, and a few errors once again, but really both teams played their best volleyball in that set. Cleveland State ended up just hitting 195 in that set. Well, Butler hit 350, but that's the first set.
And you know, you take a look at it too, Cleveland State actually has more kills at 42 kills to Butler's 33. Butler's just committed less errors, which is why their hitting percentage is where it was. And that's for the match, by the way. Well, teams hitting around under 200 though, 152 for Butler, 191 for Cleveland State. Cleveland State does have those 5 service aces while Butler has 5 service errors. So that's another important thing. And again, Cleveland State's block party, they didn't have a block in this set actually.
No, they did not.
As a team, they have 7 blocks as a total, and that's again led by Green. And that's credit to the adjustments, I think, by Butler, able to make those changes, find a way to beat the blocks of Cleveland State.
And Trinity Hall, who I said before this match was one of the players that Cleveland State needed to show up as she led the team with 33 kills coming in. She's now second in Cleveland State, tied for second in the match with 10. That's along with Anna Logan of Butler, and then Hannah Green, 11 kills in the match. She's got 6 blocks, and she's really been the one that's been helping Cleveland State play so well.
Yeah, certainly, those two right there are going to be the ones you needed for Cleveland State if they're going to come out on top. For the other side from Butler, my suggestion would keep feeding Anna Logan. She's been doing well, but also find a way to get it to Brooke Gregory because she's been pretty clean offensively. And then defensively, they played a really good set. I think they got a couple more blocks in that one as well. Just all in all, just played a little bit cleaner than they did in that second set where it just seemed like they were just caught so far off guard. Butler leading 2-1 here as we're going to get ready for set number 4. We're just going to go ahead and keep it here. Check a couple of these replays here real quickly. As you see a couple of really beautiful plays, some really good blocks here. Both sides, again, we mentioned it, crisp, clean volleyball. We see the good block beating play there by number 12, Brooke Gregory. Again, for blocks to work, they've got to be together, and that's Cleveland State. They did that really well. They worked shoulder to shoulder, perfectly timed together. You've got to have them basically shoulder to shoulder timed together. Otherwise, you're easy to split. If you're not timed together, one finger will tip the ball. It'll be hard to play. Butler taking the court now. We'll set that lineup for you. It's going to be Zimba out there. Rotating in is going to be LeBou Rivera. They're joined out there by Sheridan and Hampton. I believe the last player on the court, if you could help me see, Jacob, I'm having a hard time seeing around the net here, it is going to be Brooke Gregory.
Yeah.
And then here comes Cleveland State. It's going to be Hannah Green, joined by DeGeorge. Also out there, it's going to be Avery Portis. And then rotating out for the libero, as libero Tout checks in, rotating out is going to be Trinity Hall. So going back to the George to start the set.
Coming out, dancing to a little Ice Ice Baby over the PA. So it's always great to see these players still have fun playing a sport they've most likely loved for years.
Here comes the dig out by LeBou. Here comes the setup now. It's going to be for Gregory, and Gregory gets the kills. It's tipped off the block and out of bounds on the Cleveland State side. Bulldogs will start with a 1-0 lead here in set 4. Again, Bulldogs leading 2-1. The opening match of the Bowling Green Invitational. The next match will be Bowling Green State University, the hosting team, and the Charlotte 49ers. Here comes a kill and success for Cleveland State as they tie it up at 1 on the side out. Tout will go back to serve. Sets it how she likes it, gets it up and over. It's going to be dug out there on the play. That's Logan. We're going to set it up for Logan on that far side, tip to the block. Getting to the, it will be Avery. Setting up now for Portis. Portis blocked, dug out by Tout. Here comes the setup now again for Avery. Avery beats the block. It's Doug. Here comes the setup in the middle there. That's for Logan. Set up for Trinity Hall. Trinity Hall. She gets it off of a player and into media row, far to my left and Jacob's left. Kind of actually took a seat there before rolling under the table. Got off the hand of Zimba there, I believe. 2-1, Cleveland State back on top, and Tout to serve again. Puts this one up, it'll get over the net. It's going to be dug out there by Zimba. Here comes a flip over there by Remsier, but kept alive. Cleveland State will set up Avery, punched up by Trinity Hall. Here comes the third touch. Trinity Hall will be tipped at the net again. Kept alive. Harris now going over for Portis. Portis blocked at the net. Trying to go back with it is Trinity Hall. She does eventually get it back over for a free play. Dug out by DeGeorge. Here comes the setup now for Avery. Avery over the block. Just a little bit too much, though. With no tip, awards the point to the Bulldogs. It's going to be tied at 2.
And that was just a great defensive play from Hall. She gets a block, puts it right back over, and Cleveland State doesn't end up with the point, but you can't ask for much more grit from one of your star players.
Ramsey is dug out by Tout on the deck. Here comes the setup for Portis, who gets the kill. As unable to get down to it was the setter, Ramsey. 3-2, Vikings on top. Portis will check out, and checking in to serve will be Audrey McConaughey. McConaughey's going to serve right in the middle of that restricted zone area. Then she's just going to walk up, no jump to it, but she does get it down. Almost a service ace, but kept alive as Logan rather will just have to put it right back over. Trinity Hall tipped by the block, and down it goes as LeBou was unable to dig it out. As Cleveland State will take a 4-2 lead.
And that's going to give Hall the team lead in kills. She takes it over from Green. She now has 12, and she's the high woman in the match with that.
McConaughey dug out, digs that one out on the attack attempt there, and Avery's just going to put this one over as LeBou will set up and get ready to go in the middle. That's there for Davidson, and Davidson will get the kill. Point for Butler. It's now 4-3. Butler back within 1 on the side out. Rotating out will be Zimba. And Anna Logan will go back to serve. Put this one up, it'll get over the net. It's going to be dug out there by McConaughey. Going over for Trinity Hall on the slide, rather. Here comes the setup now. Sheridan kept alive here, Cleveland State, and then Trinity Hall will put it over for a free play. The setup here now, it's going to be Sheridan. And then another free play sent over, this time by Avery. Bulldogs getting another chance to set their offense. This time they find Horn, and they're going to call, I believe, into the net here. Net violation for the Bulldogs to tie it up after the net violation committed there by Cleveland State. Check the replay here. And yeah, they definitely touched the net there. Tied at 4. Here comes Trinity Hall finding the back corner with a perfectly placed ball.
And you do not want to be in the way when Trinity Hall comes down with one of those kill attempts. But she puts it in just the perfect corner. Butler was up more on the far side of the court, puts it down closer to us.
Piccolino will go back to serve. She puts this one up over the net, dug out by LeBou. There comes the setup now. That's going to be Horn, dug out by Tout, the libero. And this is sent over now for free play by McConaughey. Set up now here. It's going to be Horn. Horn manages to get this pass before Tout can get down to dig it. So Well-placed ball there by Horn. We'll get the side out for the Bulldogs, tying it up at 5, and LeBou will go back to serve. LeBou will serve this one into the net. She looked like she tried to put some sort of arc and curve on it as she kind of walked to the pattern. She wanted to send it, but with no success, she put that one into the net with not enough power. That'll make it 6-5.
That's service error number 6 on Butler.
Here comes a tip kill and a successful one. As coming there on the Bulldogs. We apologize for that sound static ticking error. Back to serve is going to be Brandon for the Butler University Bulldogs. Tied at 6. Again, Butler leading 2-1. Brandon serves this one up and over. It's going to be set up now here for Green. It's coming strong on the slide. Step back over, jousting at the net. Won by the Vikings. Looking at Greco getting up and putting that one on the joust. Back down on the Bulldog side. 7-6 Cleveland State. Watching that right there. Look at that, perfectly timed. She beats, looks like she beats Megan Ramsier to get to that one. Serving that one up is going to be Greco. And she will get the service ace. As off the dig, it's too low for the next Bulldog to get to it. 2-point lead for Cleveland State. Greco will serve again. She gets this one up and over again. It's going to be dug out there by Logan. Here comes the setup now. That's Gregory on the attack. Dug out cleanly. DeGeorge on the slide. Dug out by Logan. Going to set it up down here for Shandon. Cleveland State keeps it alive. Going over for Portis. Portis. Coming in here now. Horn. Punched up by Cleveland State, but right into the net. They keep it alive. But DeGeorge's final touch sends it under the net. Still credit the hustle there at Cleveland State. 8-7 Bulldogs. Trailing by 1 to the Vikings of Cleveland State. Jillian Zimba will check in. She replaces Shay Horn to serve. Back to serve. Up, gets over the net. Dug out there. Now here comes the setup for Green. Green, she's dug out. Set there in the middle, but way too much power, way too much mustard, cheddar, and C, all of the above, or D rather, all of the above there. Is that we an attack error there on the Bulldogs? It's 9-7.
Real mixed bag of metaphors there, Donovan.
Had to use them all. I haven't used them all match, so I had to use them. I've used power, okay, but not cheddar or mustard. It's one interesting tasting sandwich. All right, back to serve is going to be Emily DeGeorge. She floats this one up and over the net. It's going to be dug out by Zimba. Here comes the setup on the far side. That's Logan. Tipped by the block. Dug out there. Getting it down is Greco. Setting it up now. Portis. Dug out. Here comes the setup in the middle. That's Gregory. Dug out. Here comes the setup now for Avery. Block to the net. Avery digs it out. Third. And that should be the 4th touch. And yes, it is. That's just barely. That second touch was just a brush. But it will be a touch. So 9-8 now.
And another back and forth.
Take a look here at this. Get the block. 1, 2, 4. And then second touch was actually Tout, but it's just so hard to notice there. But good job by the officials noticing that. This one hits the top of the net on the Green attack attempt. Punched over here now. It's going to be Portis. Correction, that's actually Gregory. And then coming through is Green in the center there to throw that one down for the kill. As it's going to be 10-8 now for Cleveland State. Tout will go back to serve.
Both teams really picking up where they left off last set and playing very good volleyball once again.
Here comes the setup now. That's going to be Logan, and Logan just gets it past. Maybe a little bit caught off guard there was Kiana Avery, but good attack there by Hannah Logan. 10-9, side out, back and forth we go. Megan Ramsier will go back to serve. Up over the net, dug out by Tout. Here comes the setup now for in the middle there, and boy, Trinity Hall. A lot of power on that one. 11-9. Cleveland State on top by 2. Side out. Audrey McConaughey will go back to serve. Portis will check out for McConaughey. Up and over the net, it's going to be dug out. Here comes the setup now for Logan. Logan, a little bit too much with no tip. Actually, they will rule a tip at the net. And so it'll be 11-10, point for Bulldogs back within 1. Side out and going back to serve again will be Anna Logan. Feels like a teeter-totter. Dug out by Tout. Here comes the setup on the slide. Comes Trinity Hall, tipped by the block, but it doesn't matter as it goes down inbounds. Point for Cleveland State, 12-10. Now, on top are the Vikings. And Pecolino will check back in. Pecolino going to take her time as she dribbles this one out, trying to get her feel for the ball. She puts this one up and over. LeBou digs it out as she dives for it. There's a setup in the middle. That's Logan. It's going to be dug out by Pecolino. Here comes the setup now for DeGeorge. DeGeorge dug out by the Bulldogs. Here comes the setup. Pass the block. Dug out there by McConaughey. Setting it up now for DeGeorge. DeGeorge tipped by the blocker. It doesn't matter. It lands on the inbounds on the near side here for Cleveland State. They take a 3-point lead. It's 13-10. Again, trying to force a fifth set. Pecolino to serve. Puts this one up and over the net. Dug out by LeBou. Here comes the setup now. Blocked at the net. And on that one was Trinity Hall and DeGeorge for Cleveland State. Really good time block there, Jacob.
Yeah, perfect. Look at back here. Hall and DeGeorge just went up at the exact same time almost. Perfect placement. And there was just no chance for Butler to try to get that ball past either of them.
We'll see Brittany, correction, Julia Pecolino to serve for Cleveland State. This one's going to be dug out here. Put back down by Trinity Hall, but it's going to be tipped there slightly by Davidson. Butler does get it. Jousting at the net, won by Davidson and company. It might have been Davidson, might have been Horn who got their hand on that one. Either way, it's a kill and a point for the Butler Bulldogs. It's 14-11.
And they're definitely keeping it interesting once again here in set number 4.
Here comes your serve up and over by LeBou. High soaring one, but it does get dug out by Pecolino. Hall is going to go with the tip here on this one. And this one is just awkwardly punched by Lillian Dennis. She punched that one backwards almost. It's 15-11 now as Cleveland State gets the side out. And back to serve will be Trinity Hall. And we'll take a moment to do some court maintenance.
Trinity Hall now with 16 kills in this match. She's hitting at a .452 clip.
Only 2 attack errors to her name on the 31 attempts. She is playing a very strong game here.
17.5 points for her.
And the team's going to go ahead, Cleveland State's going to go ahead and get together as Butler takes their time cleaning up the court here. And as soon as they get together, Butler says, okay, enough of that, no timeout huddles. Let's get underway. As Shea Horn got the court cleaned up and she's ready to go. It'll be Trinity Hall to serve. This is going to be dug out. Here comes the setup in the middle there. It's going to be Remsier as Vikings get it now. The setup. Dug out there by Horn. Setup coming on over here now for Logan. Dug out, set up here now for DeGeorge. DeGeorge past the block and Logan unable to get down and dig that one out as it breaks through 16-11. Cleveland State showing some dominance here, looking more and more like they might want to force that set 5. Timeout Bulldogs.
And that whole point here is we get a look at, we just saw the replay. They would not have gotten it without the save Trinity Hall was able to make, but just a perfect set and kill off that. So
yeah.
It's 16-11, the Cleveland State Vikings
outside
leading.
Outside that first set, Cleveland State offensively has been a force here. Again, they did commit 7 errors in that third set, part of the reason why they lost. But you look at these second and fourth, the even number sets. You take a look at them, they have been hitting pretty well. Their timing has been correct, I think.
Yeah, they really, since the first set, turned around. And Butler, too. These two teams are very evenly matched. One, neither playing in a Power 5 conference, but these are volleyball. There's really good teams in every conference.
Certainly.
And we definitely got 2 of the better ones in Bowling Green this weekend.
Yeah. Of course, also the other 2 teams in this Invitational also both very good in their conferences. You've got UNC Charlotte. The 49ers, they're pretty good coming out of the Conference USA. And then, of course, the defending regular season champion in the Mid-American Conference, the BGSU Falcons, will be doing that unveiling. And, I still can't get a straight answer on whether or not that's supposed to be 12:30 or 7 o'clock. Which match is that in? I've seen advertisements with both. I'll get a confirmation on that in a moment. I should know that, but for some reason I don't. It says online, it says on the 7 one, but I've seen stuff posted where it says it's during the Charlotte match. So we will see.
We'll see, and we'll let you know as soon as we know.
That's going to be Trinity Hall again back to serve for the Vikings at 16-11. Vikings on top of the Bulldogs lead 2-1 as this one's served out and dug out by Logan. Here comes the setup in the middle, blocked to the net there by Green, and then a point for the Vikings as they're going to say a lift ball was committed there on the other side by Brooke Gregory.
We'll get a look at it here, and
it was definitely an awkward sort of hit on that one. Here comes the setup now. Going on the slide is Horn, but too much power. Another attack error there on the Bulldogs. It's 18-11.
Another one of those hits that was just a bit outside of the baseline.
This is definitely a match that I thought could go 5 sets, and we see a service ace there by Trinity Hall as Horn mishits that one, and she deflects it the opposite direction towards the stands behind her. It's going to be 19-11, and this was definitely one I felt could go to 5, Jacob, but I think it's going to.
It definitely looks like in the 5th set. That's
Service
another
ace.
point there, 20-11 now, and Hall, as Butler's forced to call a timeout, Hall is just raking in the points right now. 16 kills, 19.5 points.
She's definitely doing it on the serving side too. Two service errors, or 2 service aces rather for Hall, just in the sequence, and she's got 3 service aces to the match. Huge part of Cleveland State's success in this one has been their 8 service aces to just 3 service errors. Meanwhile, Butler with 6 service errors to just their 1 ace. Cleveland State, again, they had that kind of shaky first set, a dominant second set. Definitely more back and forth here until the late goings of this 4th set after Butler took set 3. Again, Cleveland State, when they win a set right now, it seems like they win it big time. Trying to force set 5 too, so really like it in the heart I see from Cleveland State, because again, in the 2 they lost, Jacob, they've been close sets, and again, they almost came back to force extra points in that first set.
No, it's been, the scores have been 25-23, 25-7, 25-23. Like, Cleveland State's not going to take this rolling over. They're up by 8, and they really want to force that in the last set 5. Here to get their first win of the season.
The one thing I also like to see is that they are very loose, and in my short career as a broadcaster, I've noticed, especially with volleyball, loose teams are successful teams. And so Cleveland State definitely loose up, having a little bit of a dance party, waiting for Butler Bulldogs to break the timeout huddle. Looks like it'll be Green, Avery, DeGeorge, as well as McConaughey, Piccolino, and then Trinity Hall serving for Cleveland State. Butler gets that one cleanly, digs it out. Here comes the setup on the attack is Robinson, who checks back in for the first time in a while. Robinson will throw this one back down, and Piccolino unable to dig it out. It's going to be 20-12 point for the Bulldogs as they finally get the side out. Going back to serve will be Rillian Dennis rather. She's joined out there by Logan. And now we're going to wait some time to clean up some sweat, so I'll finish resetting those lineups. It's going to be Brooke Gregory as well with Megan Remseer, and I believe that last player out there is Brittany Robinson, and yes, that is the total head count. We await the serve here from Dennis. She puts this one up and over the net. It's going to be dug out by Tout, kind of weakly, but it is kept alive. Into George will bump it over for a free play. Here comes the setup now. It's going here on the slide, blocked at the net. That is Gregory on the attempt. Here comes the setup now for Robinson. Going again for Gregory. Gregory beats the block this time, but it's dug out by McConaughey. Here comes the setup now. Going over Logan. We'll get this one on the kill attempt. Puts a little bit too much on it. There is no tip, according to any of the officials. That's a 21-12 lead for the Vikings. The side out checking in is going to be Emma Milstead. She's kind of been on and off in the rotation, so it looks like she's back on now. And then for the Vikings, it's McConaughey. She's checking out. Back to serve, serving it up is Greco. It's dug out by Milstead. Here comes the setup on the tip. Kept alive there for a moment from Green, but all that does is send it further out of bounds. And so it'll be 21-13 point for the Bulldogs, keeping it alive here. On the side out, rotating out is Robinson for the Bulldogs. Rotating in is going to be Zimba, and Zimba will serve. Zimba puts this one up and over. It'll be dug out there by Piccolini. Here comes the setup now. LeBou will dig it out. Here comes the setup for Logan. Logan dug out by Piccolini, coming towards us here on media row. Tout keeps it alive. Piccolini will set it up and over. Throw down here, and unable to dig this one out is going to be Brickle, as that one was just tossed down there by Hannah Green. It's going to be a 21-14 match now, or rather set. Again, Bulldogs lead 2-1, but they're Cleveland State trying to force a 5th set as they lead 21-14, up by 7, and Zimba serves. Dug out by DeGeorge. Here comes the setup going on the slide. It's Green. She's dug out by Milstead. Here comes the setup. Tipped to the net by Green, or blocked at the net rather by Green. Here comes the setup now going for Logan. Past the block with no tip. And the second official agrees with me, says there was no tip because the first official was asking. 22-14.
It did look close there. I don't think there was a tip, and it doesn't look like Shannon Clark did either.
There is not going to be any challenge on that one. As we see DeGeorge serve it up and over. It's going to be dug out. Here comes the setup coming up and over with Gregory. She's tipped by the net. Dug out. Green will set it up, and DeGeorge will go by the line. Here comes this play now set up here. It's going to be Logan. DeGeorge digs it out. Here comes the setup in the middle for Green. Green is blocked at the net, comes right back in her face, and then down to the court. It's going to be a 22-15 set lead now for Cleveland State. Again, coming up trying to force that 5th and decisive set. Back to serve will be Brooke Joel Gregory. Puts it up, it'll get over the net. It's gonna be dug out. Here comes the setup after DeGeorge's dig for Avery. Avery's tipped to the net, and after Butler got to it, it looked like a couple of Butler players, including Melody Davis, just didn't realize it was coming back on their side of the set, on their side of the net rather, giving the 23-15 lead and a point to Cleveland State. Tout puts this one up and over. Here comes the jab to the net, won by Trinity Hall. Boy, trying to go one hand against Trinity Hall, if she's even going one hand is a bad idea, but when she's going two hand and you're trying to go one handed, they're not going to win that one. So set point for Cleveland State as Tout will serve. Service errors, that one goes too far to the right for Tout. That makes it a 24-16 match.
And now Butler finds themselves in the place that Cleveland State was in the first set. A little bit farther out, but let's see if they can make a run here to make it a close set.
Trinity Hall flips this one over. It's going to be dug out there cleanly by Zimba. Here comes the setup for Logan. She's blocked there by Portis. And looks like that will be the final point in set 4, so we will see a 5th set after 25-16 win in set 4 for Cleveland State. We are all knotted up at 2 apiece, and just looking at that last play there, it went off of the hand of Remsier, and nobody else was really able to make a play on it for Butler. So we will see a set 5 here in the opening match of the Cleveland State Invitational. Or did I say Cleveland State? Bowling Green Invitational.
It's a Bowling Green Invitational.
And reminder that for the rules for the 5th set, you do have to get to 15 points. You have to win by 2. There was a coin flip. We will get you the results of the coin flip on the other side of this break. You're listening to BGRSO's coverage of the Bowling Green Invitational, both on Mixler.com and the YouTube live stream. Thank you for listening. out. Looks like it will be DeGeorge, joined by the libero Tout. Avery is out there with Portis, and then it's Green. Butler going back to serve is going to be number 13, Megan Sherandon. She's joined out there by Anna Logan. LeBou, as we see this dig out here by George. Here comes the setup, no going now for Portis. She tips by the block, but it kept alive. Here comes the setup now. Dug out by Tout, set up for Avery. Avery dug out there by Sheridan, also on the court. LeBou goes for it, and then having to send this one very far for a free play past their own baseline as Cleveland State gets one for Green. Green is dug out there by Logan. Set up in the middle there is Rensier. And finally getting the kill is the Butler Bulldogs, and they will take the first point here in set 5, all knotted up at 2. Finishing up the lineup, it is Rensier out there with Gregory. I believe that should be the lineup for the Butler Bulldogs, as on the side out, they will get the serve. It's 1-0. Dug out here by DeGeorge. Here comes the setup now for Green. Green dug out Lila Blue. Jousting at the net, won by Green. Green goes up against, looks like Brooke Gregory, and she will punch that one straight back down before Gregory really even gets a chance to put a hand on it. Side out, tied at 1. Back to serve will be Tout, the libero for the Vikings. Again, Vikings looking for their first win of the season, 0-3 to start. Here comes the setup now, looking at it for dug out there by DeGeorge at the setup for Robinson. Set up for Avery, and Avery hits the pin on her attack attempt, so make that an attack error there for Avery. Tying it up now, or actually rather, Bulldogs taking a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, it was a close play there. I can't really see it because the official's standing right in front of me, but now more sweat on the court, so they're going to mop that up.
So Cleveland State, I mentioned, trying to get their first win of the season. Butler Bulldogs trying to break 500 and go 2-2 to start their season and get the opening match win of the Bowling Green Invitational. Back to serve is going to be Jillian Zimba. She'll put this one up. It'll get over the net. It's going to be dug out by Tout. Here comes the setup for Green. Green goes soft with the tip. It's going to be dug out. Here goes the far side now. It's for Logan. Logan blocked at the net. It's going to be Green and Portis. Cleveland State ties it up with a Green and Portis block. Portis is going to check out on the side out for, or actually correction on that one, it is Trinity Hall and Portis. Going back to serve is going to be McConaughey. And more sweat. So I think we didn't really see them have to pull out the towel in the first 2 sets. Now it seems like these last 2 sets we need the towel almost every point.
And I mean, it is the 5th set. You expect to have a bit more sweat in the 5th set than the first, but
true.
It seems like it's been coming out more and more often.
McConaughey serves this one up, dug out there kind of awkwardly, but is kept alive as it gets set up for Logan, and Logan finds this one right there on the line near us. Good play there by Logan for the location to take the 3-2 lead for Butler. Back to serve is going to be Megan Sherandon, the freshman. Just to put this one up, it'll get over the net. It's going to be dug out there by DeGeorge. Here comes the setup. Green coming up on the slide, tipped by the block, and it'll go out of bounds. Almost, did that actually hit head coach Sharon Clark of Butler?
I think she caught it.
Did she catch it? I don't know. It's blocked my vision, but
I think she caught it after it went out of bounds.
Either way, it's tied at 3. She doesn't get a point for a catch, but she did at least catch it. Better than getting in the face with it, as we're going to see Piccolino go back to serve. It's going to be dug out by Logan, and now Logan's going to get set up here on the tip. DeGeorge takes it out. Going to set up here Hall coming on the slide. It's going to be dug out there by Zimba. Setting up Logan. Logan dug out by Tout. Set up for Hall. Hall. It's going to be dug out there by Sherandon. And now here comes Zimba punching it over. Tout. Going over now for Green again. Green blocked to the net, and Tout can't get down to block it in time. She's trying to get back in defensive position. Bulldogs up 4-3 again.
So far, a back and forth set. Both these teams want this win badly, but now looks like we're going to have a challenge of some kind.
Green card is thrown down. We will wait to see. I believe they're saying it might have been a net violation, and yes, it was.
That is 100% a net violation.
Butler, there's an arm for Butler, definitely touches the net. And yeah, pretty clean as day. I can't tell if it's the white sleeve of Davidson or if it is the white sleeve of number 9, Anna Logan, but either way, that net was definitely touched, and yes, as quick as we see it, the officials go to the replay monitor, I think give the official scoring here.
I believe it was Davidson's sleeve that got that on the outside of that block.
So it looked like it was a good block, but, you know, he touched the net, and the net definitely, on the slow down replay, definitely did look. Yes, they do call it officially. I just saw him signal over to the scoring table there. Now he's on the PA guy now, so. The call is reversed, so instead of a 4-3 Butler lead, it is a 4-3 Cleveland State lead. Cleveland State getting their first lead here of set number 5, and Piccolino will go back to serve. That was a good challenge there by the coaching staff of the Vikings.
That's the first successful challenge I've seen in a volleyball match.
Piccolino puts it up and over. As we see a block at the net, and it's a successful block there as Cleveland State will take a 5-3 lead. A well-timed block there. Back to serve will be Piccolino again. But first, we must do some court maintenance. This one's quick though.
More sweat.
Yeah.
We're not trying to say they need to stop mopping up the court.
Certainly player
we
safety.
want them to be safe.
Player safety is important, and this is certainly not as bad as one I saw when going to the Duquesne Invitational last year, where it literally seemed like every point Duquesne had to mop up the court. LeBou gets this one set up here for, that's Anna Logan. Kept alive and now punched over and just for a free ball. That is Greco going in for Logan again. Logan deflect off Piccolino, and Piccolino knew it exact right after she hit it. You saw that squint on her face. She went, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. Either way, Cleveland State still leads 5-4, but it is a side out and a chance for Megan Ramsey to serve. It's going to be up and over the net. It's going to be dug out there. And now here comes the setup for the player and Trinity Hall, but she's blocked. Now setting up for DeGeorge. She gets a pass to block off the tip. LeBou going over here now for Logan. And Logan is blocked at the net. Trinity Hall was in on that one. They get a 6-4 lead for Cleveland State. Trinity Hall will go back to serve.
Fourth block for Hall.
This come here now. It's going to be the dig out set up here. Dug out there by Piccolino. DeGeorge punches it over. LeBou gets the dig out now. It's a set up in the middle there for Davidson. DeGeorge on the attack. Dug out by Zimba. Going here now and blocked at the net, but the block is actually out of bounds. So credit a successful care there, I believe. Was that number 13? Yes, it was. Sharandon. So back to serve once again is going to be Logan. She puts this one up and over. DeGeorge digs it out. Here comes the setup for DeGeorge. Tipped by the block. Set up. Going over now. Tipping that one over is Davidson. Going now for Green. Green finds the kill there. She gets past the diving number 4, Megan Ramsier. Point Vikings. It's going to be 7-5.
So Cleveland State faithful that made the 2.5-hour drive here were calling for, I believe they either wanted a lift or a net violation, as there's a service error.
Brings it back within one on the service error there by the Vikings. And they've done really well with that position in that part of the game. Only 5 service errors to their 5 service aces. Again, it's a lot easier to commit an error than it is to get an ace. Piccolino digs that serve out. It's a setup for DeGeorge. DeGeorge floats that one over for Logan to dig it out. It's a setup now for Robinson going with Strong, but Tout gets down and digs it out. DeGeorge off of LeBou. Ramier setting up. Ramsier sets up the kill attempt and success there in the middle for the Bulldogs. Point for them, and they tie it back up at 7. Reminder that the first team to reach 8 points, we will switch sides of the court as part of the set 5 traditions and rules of volleyball. Piccolino takes this one out. It's going to get set up here for DeGeorge. Just going to put it over for a free play. Set up in the middle here. That's going to be blocked. Kept alive there, and then just thrown out of bounds. Actually doesn't even get in play as it goes on the wrong side of the pin. And so we will switch sides with Cleveland State up 8-7. Vikings and Bulldogs going back and forth here in set number 5. And really what's been a back and forth match, except for that second set, which was a dominant 25-7 match, or rather set for the Vikings.
Yeah, Cleveland State came out firing on all cylinders and just didn't look back. And then last set they looked pretty good as well. They didn't win it wasn't as much as a blowout, but they still did a very good job keeping Butler on their toes.
George is back to serve now for the Vikings. Again, Vikings up 8-7 here in set 5 of their opening match of the Bowling Green Invitational. Here comes a kill thrown down there by Sharandon, beating the block. And it gets down, so tied at 8 again. And the teeter-totter continues on the side out. We will see Sharandon serve. Viking bench getting into it here as that one's dug out for DeGeorge on the serve. Here comes the setup for Green. Green, it's going to be punched by LeBou, and LeBou's dig and punching dig there goes on the wrong side of the pin. Almost actually hits the up judge here in the face as he just kind of gets out of the way of it and gets the lead. And there is a timeout called by Butler, and Cleveland State was going to go ahead and do some court maintenance, but here at the Stro, when there's a timeout, they usually go ahead and take care of the court themselves as they pull out the rooms here. First, they'll go ahead and take the towel. So it's 9-8 right now. Cleveland State on top, and at set 5 tied at 2 sets apiece. Cleveland State again looking like a very strong team. They didn't look all that bad in the first set, Jacob, but they didn't look their greatest. Then they come out in set 2, catch Bulldogs off guard. Bulldogs win set 3. Now Now the Vikings, drop set 4, or rather take set 4. And now we see this back and forth affair again. We kind of thought this on paper, these were two evenly matched teams, and we're kind of seeing that now here. Both teams really hitting well in this one. In general, 133 for the Bulldogs, but for Cleveland State, it's 211. But in this set right now, the Vikings are doing so much better than the Bulldogs.
Yeah, so far in this set and most of the last set, it's been Cleveland State's match to lose. They're coming out and playing like there's no tomorrow, trying to get that first win. And honestly, the blocking abilities of Hall and Green up front, they've really kept the Vikings in this game even when they weren't winning sets.
And then on the other side too, you look at Anna Logan with 15 kills, and then Gregory with 10, and then right behind them is Sharandon with 9. It's been a really good offensive game for the most part. It's really been more about the errors, I think, as some of the better hitters have also been committing more of the errors. As we see the serve here by Cleveland State going on the slide here now, it's going to be Gregory, and she cannot find in play on that one, so it'll go out of bounds for a 2-point lead for the Vikings. 5 points away from taking the opening match of the Bowling Green Invitational. It'll be Tout to go back to serve. Puts this one up and over. It's going to be dug out. Ramsiers sets this one up for Robinson. Blocked at the net. Looks like Portis, and was it Hall as well? It was a block.
That will force another timeout.
Here comes that block
Shannon
again,
Clark.
and yes, it was Portis and Hall, perfectly timed again. In fact, actually, really, it was just Portis, as Hall didn't even get her hands up, so I believe we're going to go ahead and call that a solo block there for Portis, as she just, with power, rose up and timed that one perfectly. And again, yeah, another timeout here by the Bulldogs, as they're now down by 3, 4 points away from falling to 1-3 on the season. You know, both teams came to play today, but Cleveland State right now just kind of looking like they're a little bit more awake early in the morning for the early match.
Yeah, early match at Cleveland State now looks like they've woken up. They've got the adrenaline going, and they're ready to get this first win. And real quick, just another reminder, 3 more matches today and 2 more tomorrow, I believe.
Yes, 2 tomorrow.
2 tomorrow. The next match, Donovan and I also have the call right here on the WBGU YouTube stream, as well as
potentially either Falcon Radio if we can figure out the connection issues, or
Mixler.com where we are now. That'll be between the Bowling Green Falcons and the Charlotte 49ers. That one will start probably around, I'm going to say 12:45 to 1.
30 minutes after the conclusion of this one. The scheduled time was 12:30. You start to see the Falcon faithful, the orange shirts starting to creep in here early for this one. They're going to get to catch the end of what's been a really good match between the Bulldogs and the Vikings. This one's going to be served up by Tout. It's going to be dug out here. The setup's now going to go for Robinson, or actually rather, looked like that was actually Logan who came in and just put that one over. Here comes the setup for Avery. Dug out by Logan. Deception move dug out by Hall. Portis gonna get set up, and Portis finds the back corner there for the kill. That's gonna make it 12-8. Bulldogs again out of timeout, so right now it's really just gonna be all about what can you do on the court. Can you make your adjustments on the fly, because you do not have a chance to stop play. Well, I guess you have the challenge card, but you gotta be a little bit concerned about, you gotta be a little bit careful if you're gonna use those challenge cards to try to just initiate a timeout. Tout. Here comes the setup now. It's going to be Robinson. She's blocked at the net again. And on that one, it was Hall. 13-8. 2 points away for a Cleveland State victory to open up the Bowling Green Invitational.
And what a block there by Hall. Like, just right over top, puts it down.
Served. Up and over. With the deception move, but a little bit too much on that one-handed throwdown by, looked like that was in on that one was Ramsier. And it is now match point, Cleveland State, 14-8. Back to serve. It will be Tout. She puts this one up and into the net, so we'll see at least one more point. And the Bulldogs get a much-needed side out. As rotating in on the side out, it's going to be Zimba. And loading out is going to be Horn. Zimba back to serve. Again. Right now it's right to left. Bulldogs going across your audio device if you're just listening online. DeGeorge will dig it out. Here comes the setup coming up is Portis. Portis past the block. Dug out by Zimba. Free play as that one goes all the way back to the Cleveland State side. Set up for Portis, or rather, correction, Hall. And Hall just misses, so it's 14-10. Bulldogs back within 4 now. Still match point for the Vikings of Cleveland State.
Vikings now in a little bit of a danger zone, a 4-point match, as the Bulldogs really trying to claw their way back in.
Portis gets the setup, finds it, point set match. Cleveland State takes the game 1 of the Bowling Green Invitational. They win set 5, 15-1. They took set 2 as well. That took that one dominantly, 25-7. And then in set 4, they took it 25-16. They dropped sets 1 and 3, 25-23 apiece. They dropped those ones, and you know, they made some really good adjustments out there, and credit to Fight from the Bulldogs because they played a really good match all the way around, especially in those first and third sets, and even here. But at the end of the day, I think Cleveland State, when they were on just a little bit better than the Bulldogs when they were on.
And really, if you want to go with a player of the match, you're going to have to go with, I'm going to say Trinity Hall. She wasn't heard much until the third set, but 19 kills and 25 points.
19 kills, only 3 errors on 40 attempts, hitting a .40. She hit a 400. And also she had 3 service aces, and you look at it, also 5 blocks, 1 solo, 4 assisted. So yeah, just a really good game for Trinity Hall, player of the match. And on Butler, they were led by Anna Logan with those 15 kills. She also had 19 digs, so for an outside hitter, she got down, digged it out. Next to Labou, who also got 19. 54 assists for Breckel on the match. She also had 2 kills on 7 attempts, but did commit 3 errors, 14 digs. She also had a service ace and a service error. This is for Cleveland State. And Tout with 21 assists, or rather, Tout with 21 digs leads the match in that category as well. There's a really strong showing, I think, all the way around for both these teams. But again, as I already mentioned, Cleveland State, when they were on a lot better. You know, the best example of that would be that second set where they just came out and just looked like, they looked unbeatable.
Yeah, Cleveland State showed they can be a powerhouse today, and they probably played some of their best volleyball all season here in this first match of the Hampton Inn Bowling Green Invitational, as they win in 5
over the Bulldogs.
Bulldogs.
And so Cleveland State will come up to now 1-3 on the season. Butler will fall to 1-3 as well on the season. So both teams now 1-3, and both teams will get a little bit of a rest here and get a chance to watch the Bowling Green State University Falcons take on the 49ers of Charlotte, University of North Carolina of Charlotte, that is. This will conclude our broadcast for this morning. Again, in about 30 minutes, we will have the second match. They just officially started the 30-minute timer here in the Stro. So in less than 30 minutes, we will have the second match right here on both, well, maybe on Falcon Radio for audio, possibly Mixler, depending if we can get the technological issues fixed out here at the Stro. But we will definitely be right back here on YouTube Live. I'd like to send out a couple of thank yous before we go. I'd first like to thank Rick Fusell, the chairman of the Media Productions and Studies Department, as well as Jim Faust, the chairman of the, what is it, the Journalism Department? Yeah, Journalism Department.
Phil Beskid.
Phil Beskid, the faculty advisor for both Falcon Radio and WBGU, as well as Ken Garland, our faculty advisor as well.